In today's Leeds news, Firpo Stars for Dominican Republic, Archie Gray's immediate future, fullback linked, Alfie Gilchrist update and Elland Road improvements. Morning folks, Ger here, Wednesday morning the 12th of June at The View with your Leeds United news. Hope you're having a good week so far. There's a little bit of stuff to get into. Quick shout out first to Just Joe Football Show, who covered a fantastic amount of ground yesterday with Ben Jacobs. Some information that we'll get into in this, and the interview with them will be linked below as well. Also, just to say, Phil Hay announced today that he is finishing up after 18 years covering Leeds United, and I just want to say a massive thank you to Phil. I have listened and read Phil for the last 18 years nearly religiously, and I'm massive thanks to Phil for all of the coverage that he has given Leeds. And one of his famous quotes was, "Astonishing number of people despise Leeds United or what Leeds United stand for, but this club was never made for them." Phil, one of the few people who genuinely got what it was to be a Leeds United supporter as well. Ups and downs, goods and bads, he was there. So best of luck to Phil on everything else that he does in the future going forward. We're starting off with the news, then we'll get in. We'll start off by covering Junior Firpo, who represented the Dominican Republic in internationals yesterday. Not so much of a big news story. There's lots of players covering international duty over the next couple of weeks, but this one was interesting. Firpo started for the Dominican Republic as a second number 10, playing behind the strikers, and registered 26 attempts at goal. It doesn't say how many hit the target, but Firpo did chip in with a penalty win and an assist in that game that the Dominican Republic ran out 4-1 winners over the Virgin Islands. The false number 9 or false number 3 position for Junior Firpo becoming a benefit in the international space as well. So well done to Junior Firpo. Moving on, let's talk about Archie Gray's situation. And as I said yesterday, speaking on the Just Joe Football Show, Ben Jacobs gave some insight into the immediate future and plans around Archie Gray. Joe asked what the immediate plans were for Archie, with the fact that Liverpool, Dortmund, Newcastle, Chelsea and Brighton are all said to have registered an interest in the player. Ben said that the Greys were very considered in their approach and won't be in a rush to make any moves, and are very content at where they are now. They are not in a rush to move and sacrifice game time and development for Archie at the moment. Ben also went on to say that he knows that these clubs do have interest, but doesn't expect any of these clubs to make a move from him in the immediate future, because they all realise that being at Leeds is the best place for him right now and his development. He won't play the amount of games he played at Leeds last season, or potentially next season, anywhere else in the top 6. So from his development, they're happy to keep him where he is for now. Anyway, the most interesting part was when Ben was pushed by Joe on the Liverpool interest in the player, and he went into a bit more detail than probably expected on it. He said that the Greys think an awful lot of Liverpool and have good connections and good relationships with people at the club. He also went on to say that Liverpool chief scout Barry Hunter had made contact with Leeds and the Gray family around Archie, but there wasn't any sign of an immediate move. He said that there was nothing to think that Archie would move this season. It should also be said that Liverpool have been keeping a close eye on Archie's younger brother Harry Gray as well, who's currently with under 18s and 16s on and off. So one to keep an eye on. But right now, according to Ben Jacobs, every club that is interested in Archie Gray believe that being at Leeds right now for his immediate future is the best place for him, and if they were to buy him, they would have to consider either loaning him back to Leeds or out to another club, or leave him exactly where he is right now. So there's no expected moves from Archie Gray right now. Moving on to a player that has been linked today, and this is from outlet SNL24, and they are stating that Leeds are considering a move for South African right back Khuliso Mudau. Mudau is a 14-time South African capped international and plays primarily as a right back. He is considered to be one of the best defenders in South Africa and definitely one of the best right backs in the country. The player has spent 4 years with current South African champions Mamelodi Sundowns, but is said to be interested in a move away from the club this summer. French side Lens, along with fellow championship sides Burnley, are also said to be interested in the player, and the Burnley interest is an interesting connection. Should Burnley get the player or make a move for the player, that might actually free up Connor Roberts for a move to Leeds United, should Leeds be interested in bringing the player back in. The report also talks about when his agent was asked about the situation, he said the following: "There has been interest in him, but that's all that I can say for now. We'll have to wait for more credible news outlets than SNL24 to pick it up." But an interesting one, agent conversation, and several clubs interested in the right back, in a position that Leeds will need to look at. Or on the back of Brendan Aronson coming back, do we end up with Rasmus Christensen coming back and playing right back? We'll have to wait and see. My preference would be for somebody else, but we'll again we'll have to wait and see. Moving on then to another story around interested link between Leeds and Alfie Gilchrist at Chelsea. Again, speaking on the Just Joe football show, Ben Jacobs gave an update on the situation around the interest in Alfie Gilchrist that came out earlier this month. Jacobs said that Leeds are interested in a loan move for the player and that it would be a straight up loan. Chelsea do like the player but don't see an immediate pathway for him right now, so would be interested in loaning the player out to a championship club, but as a clean straight up loan, no options, nothing else in it. So if the player did do well, Leeds would be in a position to have to try and go and buy the player if they wanted him, or Chelsea would just take him back. There's no option being talked about right now. But on this detail, Ben said the following: feeling is he will be loaned out to a championship club. That's the plan and that's the player's intent. It's very unlikely in his position that he plays that Chelsea will think otherwise. The only question mark is when in the window, as sometimes clubs like Chelsea will take players on their pre-season tours first. Ben went on to say that I am sure in the coming weeks he will end up at a championship club, but it might be more like late July or early August because of what I said. You've got Leeds, Preston and Blackburn clubs who are all clubs who have made a formative approach for the player. Ben finished up by saying that Gilchrist himself would be open to a move to Leeds United and has great respect for Leeds. He said there is rivalry between Leeds and Chelsea fans, but as clubs there is a lot of respect from players towards both clubs. It would be an interesting one for Leeds. Bringing Gilchrist, a good player. It'd be a good sign to making the championship, especially even just for the year to get out of the championship. But a player to keep an eye on, and one I would say to keep an eye on into the back end of the transfer window. And then moving on to finish up with some Elland Road updates today. And finally today, the Elland Road major work may have to wait until the summer of next season before we see any kind of work begin. Again, depending on Leeds' situation at that point, but that doesn't mean that some small improvements won't be being made around the ground in this off-season. Last season, the upper tier of the Norman Hunter stand got upgraded with new TVs, toilets, bars, and the Jack Charlton concourse was also redecorated with toilet improvements there as well. The summer plans for Leeds this year are to entirely redevelop the northeast corner of the ground. The concourse area will be updated. Bars, TVs, and toilets again will all see an update. The Jack Charlton stand and the Eddie Gray suite will also see some improvements as well, with some refurbishment being done on the Eddie Gray suite and increased hospitality areas in level 3 of the Jack Charlton stand. There is also plan to improve the bars, concourse and again the toilets in the lower tier of the Norman Hunter stand and the Don Reevy Cop as well. So plenty of work being carried out by Leeds over the course of this summer. The major work will have to wait until next year. There's again more conflicting reports coming out from unreliable outlets that work has been stopped on that, but we have the interview from Parag Marathe only a month or so ago where he basically said that work is continuing, there's plans being drawn up, and a lot of work has to be done before a shovel ever goes in the ground, and the plan is still to start work next summer, with Leeds hopefully confirmed as a Premier League club by that stage. Folks, that is going to be it for me today. I've linked the Just Joe Football Show interview with Ben Jacobs down below. Go check it out. It's a really good interview, top notch work by Joe, and hats off to him for getting some news out on a slow news day, so thanks for that, Joe. And that'll be it for me today, folks. Back tomorrow morning with the Leeds news. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you then. See ya. Bye.